Our Sunday plan has now fully played out with the Monday high being put in, well, of course, on Monday. As you can see right there, we wanted to look for the Monday high to get a reversal down towards $61,000, which was our main target. And of course, as you can see, price even ended up moving lower than that. Now, in our last update, if you remember, of course, we still wanted to see the move down towards $61,000. And even though I expected this level to be broken, as you can see right there, I did not expect it to get broken in one sweep, right? Personally, I did want to see a bounce this week to then see another jump going into the next week or even the weekend. However, if we go over to the charts and we add back the level, as you can see, we did get the drop into the level, however, didn't really offer much of a reaction and we continued to the downside, ended up sweeping the initial low at $59,000, which is now offering a bounce to the upside. So with that said, just a quick recap on what I did. Personally, I did attempt the long at $61,000, as you can see right there, and I got stopped out. Even a bit annoying, I tried the short, was that on Wednesday morning, I think? So let's say Wednesday morning, as you can see, I tried the short up there. Unfortunately, price decided to make one more high where I got stopped out. I just had to go to sleep, but we ended up making yet another high, and then we got that reversal down towards $61,000. Pretty unfortunate week for me. I was ready for the Monday high, didn't get the wick. I got stopped out on this short, which was indeed Wednesday morning actually. And yeah, for the long at $61,000, we just had very good volume. As you can see, we pretty much had the second hourly imbalance, which for me was a very good trigger, but unfortunately no bounce offered. So with that said, what are we seeing right now? Can we can we still expect this plan to play out where we see a bit more chop before getting that final move down into $52,000? Well, the first thing to outline, as usual, let's talk about the higher time frames. What happened on this low? Well, once again, as you know, we swept the initial low and we got two 4-hour imbalances with this very nice imbalance, a nice wick, which has already offered the bounce to the upside. Now, with that said, if you guys remember what I said in the last update, I talked about the weekend. And what I said was that this week, in my opinion, it didn't make too much sense to like offer a bounce and then close the weekend somewhere up there, for example, in this case. So even though we are seeing a bounce, we are getting closer to the weekend, which I would count on Friday night. So let's call it in 1.5 days we have the weekend. So in terms of positioning, the first thing I want to say is that I don't see too much. Okay, we don't have to force trades right here. Price pushed a bit lower than expected. We are seeing a bounce. Of course, good job if anyone caught the sweep. But the most sensible thing to do right now would be to remain on the sidelines, let the weekend play out, and then on Sunday, as usual, I will come back with the live stream to outline what we can look for the next week. However, a couple of things that I want to talk about. We still have the monthly open coming up next week on Wednesday. Okay, so this will be very important in my opinion. And the second thing to note is that for me, I would still like to see a bit more chop before we get that reversal to the downside. Okay, once again, I am looking for a bottom, not calling for much lower price. Okay, just 54.52 in my opinion. So going back on Bybit to outline a lower time frame scenario, even though I'm not looking for any trades this week, I think what would be lovely to see going into the weekend would be that let's say we get a bit of a drop and then we get a very quiet Friday and then maybe a bit of a pump next Monday, get that reversal to the downside. And then if we get something like this, we form a bit of a bottoming formation with a Monday high, potentially, and then dropping into a Tuesday low. I know I haven't lined it up right, but I think if we can get something like this, then at this point we can look for that long position into the monthly open. For me, I would love to target this Monday high, which I am not the biggest fan of for multiple reasons. So if we can target this Monday high, continue that chop for a bit longer before ultimately coming back down to complete the higher time frame scenario that we aligned pretty much a month ago at this point with the drop to $54,000. Now, on the other hand, of course, if we get a straight drop from here to the downside, okay, so it goes straight down to $54,000. Then once again, I will be back on Sunday to film the live stream. And let's say we get it, we could, for example, open that low leverage long position that I have been talking about for a bit. However, I don't think this will happen this week. I still believe it's too early. Plus, once again, we have the monthly open, which I am keeping in mind. So, in my opinion, a rough idea that I have in mind of what could happen next is definitely something like this. However, at this point, I am not looking for any position. Okay, why? I don't see any support. We're going into the weekend. I don't know. To me, I just don't see any super clear level, which is why I would love to wait for something like this. If we can form a bit more levels, then at this point it will be much easier to catch a long position. Okay, so I just wanted to film a quick update to kind of let you know what I'm personally looking for. On the higher time frame, I am looking for two things: a bit more chop and ultimately a move to $52,000. On the lower time frames, looking for that chop that we talked about on the higher time frame, which could look something like this with a bounce to take out this week's Monday high at $65,000. However, this week personally, I'm done trading. I don't see too much. And yeah, I think this is the most sensible thing to do. With that said, I hope that you guys enjoy this update. And as usual, I will be back on Sunday night for the live streams. Sorry. Of course, in the meantime, I will be in the Discord in case you guys have any question. I will be here staring at the charts, even though I have no trades to take, just because I am very interested to see what happens right here. So if you guys enjoyed this update, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.